What's up, MetaNerdz? When I was rereading the Thrawn book, there was an interesting part that showed how people in the Outer Rim didn't trust droids or computers with their financial transactions, and I thought this would make for a great meta moment. In the book, there's a scene where Arinda Pryce's mother gets charged with embezzlement. Arinda says that if somebody wanted to steal, they would take the money during one of the normal dips in profits so that it fits the trend, and she presents video evidence from a company party that happened on the exact same day as one of these dips, and which shows an employee who kept disappearing. Her name was Pommy Harchback, a Lutrillian that worked heavy equipment. Pommy was seen frequently heading down a hallway that leads to the main office. Important for the topic of this video is that she leaves 4 times in total, each in about 10-minute intervals. As Pryce is explaining to Senator Ranking, he doesn't see why this interval is important to the embezzlement claim, but she explains how major transactions are handled in the Outer Rim. I just want to read the quote from the book, which reads, "I don't know how it is on Coruscant, but on Lothal, secure fund shifting usually requires 2 or 3 touch points, and the authorization codes are sometimes bounced back and forth over the length of an hour or more." Both expressed how annoying and inefficient this process was, but Pryce says that the banks and businesses all have their own particular way of doing things, and, quote, "None of them like turning everything over to computers or droids. Everyone wants to have a personal touch in big transactions." I really like this detail, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Since their galaxy is running on droids and computers, with data sent faster than light through hyperwave communications, and integrated into other series of transceivers, which then spread across the HoloNet, obviously there are a lot of points where a slicer could intervene. By sending different codes at different times, that are processed by an organic sender each time, you make it much more difficult to intercept. By personally approving each of these steps, you don't have to worry about your system being hacked and sending credits against your will. And you also have the same security that the other party is actually receiving your credits when you do want to send them. You can't be robbed, and they can't claim they never got it when you go through all of these redundant touch points. Maybe a slicer could intercept the first message, or one in the middle of the chain, but the odds that they could catch all 3 or 4, and at the right times across the length of over an hour or more, and not be detected by one of these organic parties, is much more unlikely than people who just wire the funds. Now, as secure as all this is, like Pryce and Senator Ranking pointed out, this is incredibly time-consuming, and not something seen on Coruscant or any of the core worlds. So the companies that are moving the most amount of credits, and where the vast majority of trade is being conducted, aren't as worried about slicers, or care to use this more secure system. Though that may seem counterintuitive, that the people with the most to lose are worrying about it less than those in the Outer Rim, it may just mean that communications in the core are much more secure than at the fringes of the galaxy, and or it just reflects a disposition often shown in Star Wars, that the Outer Rim people just have a general distrust of technology. The core is supposed to be like the big city, metropolitan folk, and the Outer Rim is country folk, a theme that the Thrawn book touches on often, with Thrawn and Eli Vanto being looked down upon as yokels by the big city kids that make up the Imperial Academy. I think it is also safe to say that there was no equivalent of an FDIC or credit card refund system in the Outer Rim, so if a bank lost your money, there was nothing you could do about it. This made sure that both parties wanted to be as involved in this process as possible, but I just wanted to share this detail because I love how it reminds me of the gritty original trilogy feel, which combined space-traveling civilizations with tech that was still limited by the 70s and 80s. It enriches the lore too, as the Outer Rim continues to be a place with a different culture than the core, which will be very interesting to see if the droids ever do revolt. So that's it for this meta moment on how the Outer Rim conducted its trade. If you want to connect with us, help support this channel, or pick up a copy of the book used in this video, be sure to check out the description down below. But most important of all, remember, don't pin embezzlement charges on somebody who's already suffering from diarrhea, and the Force will be with you, always.